So I'm asking them how many more are accepted. So, yeah. Ska vi köra eller? Ja, okej, vi kör. Är den på? Du record? Yeah, great. Okay. So why are you engaged in these topics?
I ask myself the same question because since I got involved, meaning within these 3 years, quite early on, I stepped out my comfort zone in April 2020. So it has been a long journey, and I didn't mean to be, to go public, to have articles, fact checkers after me in all countries, whether in Canada, in Greece, in France, you name it, you have it. A great number of countries have got after my statements, and my statements were more about questions. At first, I feel very privileged of being a scientist, a geneticist, having worked on RNA biology for the last 15 years. And therefore, I have this understanding of what we know and what we do not know. And this is what pretty much I wanted to share with the people. So at first, it was more about questions. Question about the origin of the virus, that I said it couldn't be a certainty that it came from animal origin. It took a while before they understood that, but it's coming slowly. I said the mRNA vaccine were not mature enough for sure, because for the last 20 years we went failure after failure, and we never went beyond phase 2 of a clinical trial. It took some time, but I think it was March 10th, 2022, that Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, said the same thing that I said. And last December, the Catherine Janssen from the vaccine R&D of Research and Development Department of Pfizer made this article in Nature, which title says it all, I think. COVID-19 vaccine, we were flying an aeroplane while we were still building it. I've talked to people in the aeronautic field who build planes, and they said this never happens. You do not fly a plane when it's being built. You build a plane and then you test it. And unfortunately, often when you test it, it crashes. This is what happened. So we were talking of using the real world as a guinea pig, and this raises a great number of questions as to the common responsibility we have on our genetic heritage. This genetic heritage that as human beings we share.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I think we can go to question number 3 immediately. So, what's your message to the Swedish politicians and authorities? So you can just look into the camera.
So, dear member of the government of Sweden, this is an honor for me to be here in Stockholm, where I took my first step at the Karolinska Institute long time ago for my very first meeting. You have been, on the edge of science for a long time, and I have had the honor as well to speak to the Member of Parliament in Luxembourg. At that time, their mind was quite clear. They had to mandate the vaccination for everyone. Because I shared a number of information, including conversation correspondence that we had with the European Medical Agency of tests that were not being performed and for which there was no plan to perform, such as, do these vaccines could prompt any cancer in the one who received them? Has it been looked at? are we going to look at it? And the answer was no. And the answer was no because we are giving only 2 doses. So we are aware that that was their answer actually. We are aware that there is those toxic molecules, but it's okay because we are only delivering 2 doses. That was their response some time ago, and you know what it became after that. So to see all this turbo cancer, this cancer that go very fast in an unusual manner, that the medical doctors themselves say chemotherapy will not work, should prompt your awareness as to something is going wrong. Same goes with the mortality rate that we have in different countries. This should prompt your caution as to something is going wrong. Sudden death, death of youth, this is something very unusual. Young people do not die, for they have the power, they are in the fertility period of their life that they can have babies, and therefore the viruses never attack them. They would attack the infants or they would attack the old people, but not the youth. The youth would only die during war or during some kind of accident. The fact that we have some youngsters to die should wear again your attention. I have never been into politics because I find it too much of responsibility. It is pretty much about your shoulders and your heart to have the courage to stand out, just like the people from the Luxembourg. At first, they thought we were talking nonsense. But then they looked at the data we shared with them, and then they changed their minds, and then they stopped listening to their own experts, and then they took the right decision. Be courageous because the world is looking at you. You have been paving the way, the Scandinavian countries, for a number of, let's say, different measures that you took, especially with in terms of the lockdown. Of not doing this lockdown. I know that you've been heavily criticized, but I can tell you that I put a study that unfortunately was never published, but I think you were right, because basically the virus had to circulate, and the virus, you can put a lid onto the cover of the virus, but sooner or later it will come out, and that is what we have called waves. So be really in this conscious mode of what politics is about. It is about having us on a victory path, and victory is about unity, and unity is about having some common sense that anyone is free of choosing whatever is good for them in terms of their health. All the best to you. I will not take the decision for you. You are in charge, but take the right decision. Be courageous for us and for our children. Thank you.